I have the final word on Syria, so let me explain what we should do. Now, yes, it's a very hard question. We've struggled with it here at the Young Turks, as a lot of people have across the country. Progressives are split on it as well. Some are obviously in favor because they care about humanitarian concerns, etc., and some are against because they don't want to be in the middle of another war in the Middle East that we got nothing to do with. And by the way, that is the clear majority. To be clear, it's not 50-50, okay? Well, here's what I think. I think that it is a really important precedent that a country should not use chemical weapons. Yes, I understand our hypocrisy. Yes, I understand that we wouldn't attack Russia if they used chemical weapons. But I think it is important to have precedent, and then the fact that it hasn't been used in 100 years and we should keep it that way, or we should punish people who use it, is a good precedent. Now, of course Saddam Hussein used it, and we clearly sanctioned it at the time because he was fighting Iran. So that's the hypocrisy. But that doesn't mean we should be forever hypocritical. We can do better. But in order to take action, I think we have to do three things. One, we have to present clear and indisputable evidence that chemical weapons were used and that it was the Assad government who used chemical weapons. Now, right now, there's a lot of, oh, trust me, I mean, if you saw the evidence. No. I went through that in the Iraq War. Don't tell me if I saw the evidence. Well, we live in a democracy. Show us the evidence. There's no reason to keep that. If the point of the evidence is to show you why it's so important, so clear, that we take this dramatic action where we enter a theater of war, and by the way, once we do bombings, they can retaliate and it can spin out of control. You've got to show it to us. You can't have our so-called representatives, I know they don't often represent us, but they're technically called our representatives, vote on this without showing us the evidence. So trust me doesn't cut it at all. You must have indisputable evidence, and right now they have not presented that. So I would vote no based on that. Number two, you must get congressional authorization. Now, I was very happy that President Obama decided to go in this direction. In the beginning, it looked like he wasn't going to, but he realized, by the way, one, it's the right thing to do, two, it's the constitutional thing to do, and three, by the way, and probably the real reason he did it, it's a smart political thing to do. If Congress denies him, he says, well, look, I tried, man, but those guys in Congress wouldn't do it. Can you believe them, right? And if they do authorize it, then he can say, hey, listen, man, you signed on to it. It wasn't just me, it was all of Congress. Now, why do I care? Because there is a certain right way to do this. It's in our Constitution. Congress is supposed to approve acts of war. Is bombing a different country, hitting over 50 different military sites using Tomahawk missiles, and now apparently bombers as well, act of war? Come on, you can call it anything you like, but that's an act of war. There's no question about it. If it happened to us, we would certainly think it was an act of war. By the way, it did happen to us, Pearl Harbor, just a limited bombing with no boots on the ground, and we certainly thought that that was a day of infamy that really required us getting into the middle of a world war. So obviously, congressional authorization, if you care to do it right, is necessary. And you must do it right. And that's my main point here as I go on to the third point as well. There's a reason why you should do it right. And the third point is you must get UN authorization. Now, people say, oh, but the UN isn't going to authorize. Russia and China are going to vote no on the Security Council. I understand that. But it isn't just to be a lawyer that you follow the laws. There's a reason why they're there, why they exist, why we follow them. Because if a country has gone well outside of international law and they have done something egregious, well, then the world reserves the right to act. But if the world does not agree, then apparently we cannot act because we do not stand together. You see, that has a purpose. If we don't stand together, we might wind up fighting one another. So if we decide, well, what they did is super egregious, but Russia doesn't agree, and China doesn't agree, and others don't agree, and by the way, at this point, Britain doesn't agree. Well, when we start an action and there's a counter action to that, it can get really messy. Whereas if the United Nations agrees and we all act in concert, well, then Syria will have nowhere to turn. And it means that, yes, the world agrees. We do not stand alone. We didn't name ourselves the international cops and take action as if we run the world. We asked the world, and the world agreed. Okay? That's the right way to do it. Now, the final thing is people will say, well, then you won't act. Well, in the beginning, you're right. Okay? Keep it real. I mean, it's not meant to be a cop-out. But I understand that, of course, that Russia and China will veto it in the first place. But then President Obama and the United States of America can say, hey, listen, I'm ready to act. I got congressional authorization. I'm ready to push the button. So don't come tell me that I didn't act. I was here to help the people of Syria, okay? Russia didn't act. China didn't act. It's blood on their hands. Okay, and then Assad might view that as a green light to use chemical weapons again. That's true. And then you take another vote at the UN. And at that point, Russia and China seem like they're even worse guys. And you present clear and indisputable evidence. Here are the children that were killed. Here are the 1,400 civilians that were killed. Russia and China, what are you going to do? Do you stand behind that dictator who's killing his own people, gassing his own people? Is that what you do? Maybe you lose that vote. Maybe one of them flips but the other one doesn't. And then he perceives it as a green light, does it again. Yes, there are terrible consequences to this. But there is value in acting in unison and the world being united. At some point, Russia and China will have enough pressure where they go, okay, I can't continue to back this guy. And if they do, well, then there are other consequences. You can have non-lethal, non-military responses. Maybe in the end, Russia stands alone and we do sanctions. I know that seems extreme, but it's, you know what's more extreme? A gigantic war. There is a right way to do this. I believe we should take action, but only if we go through the proper channels. It's not to be a lawyer, it's to do the moral and correct thing. And so it can be done, but you've got to do it the right way. If you don't, you're going to get yourself and the whole world in much greater trouble. I have ruled it is thus.